Hi, this topic is called evaluating an expression with negative exponents, and I'm going to teach you how to handle it. Before we actually tackle that, let's just talk about what we would do for this. Just a normal exponent. 4 to the second power, or 4 squared, tells us that we need to do 4 times 4. We're multiplying this number by itself this number of times. So, and I write it out. I've been teaching math for a long time, but I know my brain sees the 4 and the 2 and immediately thinks 8. It's just how I'm wired. So I've learned that that's a weakness of mine. So if I write this out as I'm doing that, taking that whole 2 seconds to write that out, I'm realizing my answer is 16. And personally, if I can get math right the first time around, I'm going to do that. So that's why I've learned to do this step here. All right. So let's look at, let's do like 2 to the negative 3 power. When I teach negative exponents, I tell folks that when you have a negative exponent, whatever has the negative exponent on it has to go to the other part of the fraction. I'm going to say that a lot. However, when you look at this initial problem, you'd be like, Cheryl, there's no fraction there. So how do we make a fraction? We can make a fraction out of anything in the world by putting a 1 under it. All right. So what we're doing in essence, if we're going to bring the 2 down to the bottom of the fraction, we're really just flipping this fraction upside down. So if you can just remember it that way, you'll be in good shape. The 1 comes to the top, 2 to the third goes to the bottom. That takes care of the negative exponent. It's gone now. And now we can just apply the exponent the way that I showed you above. 2 times 2 is 4, and then 4 times 2 is going to give you 8 on the bottom. 1 stays on the top. Let's try another one. Let's do 5 to the negative 2. All right. So when we see a negative exponent, you just got to kind of learn this part. Negative exponent, flip the fraction. Negative exponent, flip the fraction. Negative exponent, flip the fraction. So that's the first thing you're going to do is flip the fraction, have it be positive. What is 5 times 5? Nope, it's not 10, which your brain might have said. You saw the 5 and the 2. It's very easy to say 10. Whoops, I don't want to do that, do I? Because 5 times 5 is actually just 25. And that's that problem. All right, let me make a little more space here. Let's try something just a wee bit complicated. Let's say that we have 6 over, 7, and that is raised to the negative 2. Again, negative exponent, flip the fraction. Negative exponent, flip the fraction. I know that's obnoxious, but it kind of helps you remember stuff like that. So we flip the fraction. The exponent is now positive, and now we're just applying the exponent to the top and applying the exponent to the bottom. 7 times 7 is 49. 6 times 6 is 36, and then you're done. Let's try another one like that. What if we have 4 over third over 3 to the negative 3? See a negative exponent? Flip the fraction. Keep the exponent positive now. Now on the top, we're going to have 3 times 3 times 3. That's not 9. Be careful. 3 times 3 itself is 9, but times another 3. 9 times 3 gives us 27. On the bottom, 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 64. So just take your time. There's no need to rush it. No need to just push things through and kind of guess. Just flip the fraction, apply the exponent. Flip the fraction, apply the exponent. What happens if I do this? What if I do negative 3 over 2, and let's apply that. We'll say the exponent on that is negative 2. So we have a new little wrinkle here. We have this guy. All right, a couple things about this. Number one, don't panic. We're going to deal with it at the end of this problem. The other thing I wanted to say about it is textbooks like to put the negative sign out there and kind of in front of the fraction. It's not being committed to one number or the other on the fraction, and that's your job. When I'm doing these problems, I usually just put that negative sign on the top number. And then I just know that it's not going to get lost in the shuffle. All right. So this is what my brain would be doing. This step you don't really have to write out. This is what my brain is doing. It's saying, Cheryl, I'm going to put that negative sign on the top number. So I still have a negative exponent, so I have to flip that fraction. Okay. And now my exponent is positive, and that means on the top I'm going to do 2 times 2, and on the bottom I'm going to do negative 3 times negative 3. So on the top, 2 times 2, that gives me 4. On the bottom, a negative 3 times a really messy negative 3 will give me a positive 9. All right. So when you have a negative sign in the beginning of the problem, don't panic over it. Just try to work your way through it and just see how it goes. Let's just do one more of those negative fractions, just because some people just see a negative sign and immediately panic. So let's say that we have 5 over 7. There's a random negative sign sitting out there, and that will be to the -1 power. Again, my brain is going to do this. Sometimes I write it out, sometimes I don't, but I just like to remind myself that that's what I'm going to do and put that negative sign upstairs. I could have put it on the 7, but I didn't have to. So now my negative exponent tells me I need to flip the fraction. And now, this might seem silly, I have an exponent of 1, which changes nothing, because 7 all by itself is 7, and -5 all by itself is -5. All right, I hope this helped.